Hi, this is Larry Lursey, and welcome back for another tutorial. This month we're going to be taking a look at a really cool plugin from Topaz Labs called Texture Effects. And if you like adding textures to your images like I do, you're going to find this to be a really handy way of doing things. I've always just kept a folder of textures, and I will put them on, play with the blending modes and that type thing on each image. And Texture Effects kind of puts all this in one place and allows you to save combinations and all kinds of really cool stuff. So I'm going to kind of take a quick run through here and show you how it works. I've got just an image here to work with. One thing I do always encourage you to do when you're using a plugin like this is to do it on its own layer. So I'm going to make a copy of our layer. I always just call the bottom one original, or whatever you want to do. And the top one is where we'll put our Topaz. And I'm not going to name it yet because I'm going to actually name it after what plugin we use. But I'm going to make sure I've got the top one ready to go. Got an image here. I'm going to go to Filter, Topaz Labs. You can see I'm a bit of a Topaz addict. Texture Effects. Okay, so when it opens up, it's going to go right to a, let me get back here to kind of the featured ones. Image is going to be sitting here. And one thing you'll notice up here, this says log out. Yours will probably say log in. And you want to log in with this plugin because it's going to connect you to the Topaz community. I've already done it. That's why mine says log out. But when you first get in here, you're going to have to log in with your Topaz ID that you use to download your demo or your software from them. But that's going to give you access to the community, which I will show you how that works here in a little bit. But a few of the buttons up here to take a look at. Pan is here. We're moving our image around on the screen. Here's the original to switch that back and forth. There's the original. It's already got an effect put on it. In fact, here's our zoom in, zoom out buttons up here. Pretty self-explanatory stuff. Fit makes it fit within the screen. So nothing too earth-shattering up there. So what you're looking at here is, first off, it will typically give you what they call the featured ones, and it pulls up just a random variety of thumbnails here on the side, and you can click on each one and it'll process it and it'll show us what it looks like. That was actually kind of cool right there. Kind of depends on what direction you want to go with the image. So certainly the easy route is you come up with one of these and you go, you know what, I like that. I like this fall fairy tale. I'm not sure what those dots are it's putting right there. Might have to mask that out or something. But you go through and find one you like. I kind of like this color burst. If that's all it is, then it's just a matter of hitting OK down here in the bottom and you're done. But we're not going to take the easy way out. We're going to take a look at a few more of the features that this thing has to offer. And I would first call your attention up here to this Browse button. If you hit that Browse, our image is going to be up here on the left. And what it's doing is it's going to pull up a ton of these presets. And you'll notice up here it says both. You've got two different things that can draw from. Local is the ones that you already have on your computer. Community is stuff that people have shared with the community. And to me, this is like one of the best parts of this plugin, is it allows you to access these brilliant texture combinations that other people have put in. So let's go ahead and click on Community so it brings those up. And it's going to go through and it's going to pull up basically all the plugins that people have shared in the community. All the presets, rather. And you can go up here and you can narrow things down more if you want a certain type look. You only want to see vintage ones, or you want stuff that's been labeled or tagged with, you know, portrait, abstract, that type thing. But a lot of times I will just leave those like this. You can search if there's a certain look you're looking for, but a lot of times I just kind of like to look at these and go through and click, and again you'll see them up here. And I like this one. I like this New Beginnings. I think that's a really cool look. I think that retro is kind of interesting. Cloudy. Color burst really makes that one pop. I mean, it just really depends on what type look you want. I'm going to go with this Old Beginnings. I think it's a little too much, but I could always pull down the opacity. But let's grab the Old Beginnings one to work with just for grins. So I've got that plug-in. All you got to do is, you'll see it's right here in the center, the little download button. This Old Beginnings, I will hit the download button. And that has put it into my, now I can jump right in right now and start editing it, but let me go ahead and close this out because I want to show you where it put this. Okay, so we're back in our image. Here's our featured. You can go up here and instead of featured, my effect, which ones you did, all effects, you'll go to downloaded. And here's the old beginnings one that we just downloaded. Okay, so we'll look at it and we'll say, okay, boy, that's a really heavy-handed. I'm going to click right here on these little sliders, and that's going to take the preset and open it up with all the options. And you can see through here all the different things. It's divided them up into basic. You know, here's the adjustments. You can turn that off and on. Here's the texture, off and on. So put some borders or like an edge around it. There's a little bit of a color overlay. Dust and scratches. So let's jump into the texture one, and you've got all these textures up here. You can go back here if you think that the texture is a little too much, and just pull down on that opacity. You can change the blending mode. You know, this detail. So we can play around a little bit with some of this and bring that down a little bit. Until you're happy with it. You may be happy with it right off the bat, or you can tweak it however you want. If you decide you don't like the color overlay, turn that off and just go with that. Let's say you don't like the dust and scratches, we can turn that off. So you can turn any of these off and on. And then once you get it how you want it, you're going to hit OK. I would remind you, we got old beginnings here, so I would hit OK. And here we go. It's put it right here. I would go in and I would call this old beginnings. And I think this is really important to do so that later on you decide you've got another image of a bike and you go, oh, I'd like to give it that same effect I did before. You just go up, you know the name is old beginnings, and it's easy to look it up when you go back into your browser. And then here we can do things. We can go ahead and lower the opacity down. Maybe we want to give it a little more of a muted look. So going from here to there, I think that's a nice look for that, kind of a little bit of a vintage type thing with some warming to it. So again, really easy to do. Let's go in here one more time. I'm going to show you. Let's just go ahead and trash that. Make another copy. Go back into Topaz texture effects. And so if you're a basic user and you want to just kind of get the quick, easy fix, then I think those presets are the way to go. But if you want to really jump in and get creative and go beyond this, you go right up here and you click New. And basically your image is going to start over and you're going to add an adjustment. All these different options here. Let's start with the basic adjustment. This is going to be your brightness. You know, a lot of times when you're adding a lot of these textures, it darkens it, so I'll add a little brightness. You got some clarity, bump up the saturation. A lot of these basic type things that you've done in other programs or plugins. So you adjust that however you want, and we can add another one. Let's go do some film grain. Decide how much you want to do on that, just to give it a little bit of grit. Perfect. And you're just basically, this little arrow here shows the details if you want to see them or not. So there's before and after, but can't really almost see it. So let's jump down to texture. This will be the good ones. And so you've got all these different ones up here you can use of textures. You can go in here and say, you know what, I'm looking for some papers that's got them divided up into similar ones. And you can click through here and decide, well, I kind of like this paper, for example. And then it's just a matter of going through. You decide how much opacity you want it to have. You can set the blending mode. A lot of times I'll go with like a soft light. Let's try soft light, see what that does, then bring the opacity up. Let it think for a second. There we go. And there's the before and after. The detail, we can bring up the saturation, whatever you want to do. You go in and play with all these, and this is basically replacing what you would normally do when you put a layer on top and then you play with the blending mode. You say, well, let me try hard light instead, and gives it those looks. Let's go back to soft light. I think that was a little better. Okay, so you got your soft lights. You decide how much opacity you want. You can even go right here and open the texture manager, and it'll allow you to import your own. And you can go in, so if you've got a folder of textures you want, you can bring them in and either have your own called My Textures, or if you want to add a new category, or you can take all your papers and add them to the paper one. Probably makes more sense to put them in the ones they've already got adjusted. And so then you've got basically your own textures as well. Then again, as usual, once we're done with it, you can hit OK. But the other cool thing you can do is you can save it. You go to right here, and we will call this one PMM Demo Preset. And we will say that this is kind of a vintage one. You can decide what it's good for. Maybe earthy and vintage. So we'll go with those. Hit save. Then we come back here to this little drop down, and we'll go to My Effects, and there it is. There's the demo preset I did, and I can actually hit this little button right here to share it, and it will send this texture off to the community so others can give it a try. So if you get one you really like and you want to share it with the community, and you do it that way. But man, it is such a cool, powerful program to do. And again, if you don't want to get bogged down with the technical parts of it, you can simply just go to these, go to the all effects and scroll down and look at them all and try it out till you find something you like. Or if you want to go in and create your own to kind of get your own signature look, then that's an option too. So I just love programs like this where it has both. It's got the customization if you want that, or if you're just looking for give me something quick to make my image look cool, this handles that as well. So again, I would encourage you to go to topazlabs.com and check out their they've got free demos of all these presets, and I think you'll be really happy with this. So give it a try, and let me know how your results turn out, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.